Oh, I've answered two questions about that. I'm sorry, I'm going to not talk about that one, but I've kind of moved on from that. But as always, guys, when you're the leader of a unit or the leader of a team, everything that goes on that field is my responsibility. And obviously, them scoring what they scored, how the second half went, I didn't do a good enough job.
Jonathan Gannon, now the Cardinals head coach, was the Eagles defensive coordinator in Super Bowl 57. CJ Gardner-Johnson tweeted and then deleted, "You ain't put us in position to make plays." That's what one of the key members of the
Take the Cardinals off the free agent signing for Chauncey Gardner-Johnson.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I don't think he's going to Arizona. Maybe why I deleted the tweet. We at least want some leverage.
Yeah,
we
right.
We at least want a phone call from the Cardinals. Now there went the phone call from the Cardinals. And look, Gannon didn't talk to reporters after Super Bowl 57. I don't think coordinators are required to, but he clearly doesn't want to talk about it now. He wants to move forward in his new job, but there still are lingering questions about the deployment of the defense, the inability of the defense to continue what it started in that game. They just couldn't stop the Chiefs in the second half, period.
Right. It wasn't the best look, after the game, and I know he wasn't required to, but yeah, that's one of those where, you got to kind of go, okay, this is one where I probably need to speak on behalf of the team and the city and, take it on the chin and explain it a little bit. It's a tough situation. It is. But, here's my other thing, too, with this game, right? Diving back into this a little bit. This is what I would say a little. One, is it that crazy, really, that Patrick Mahomes came back from a 10-point, down 10? Have we not seen that before? Is he not the greatest quarterback ever to be down by 10? When we broke down this game, Mike, we never thought, we weren't we were never going, whoa, Philly's defense is just going to smash the Chiefs' offense. We always knew there was a possibility with the Chiefs' offense and them to do this. Did I expect 38 points? No. Again, to me, yes, it wasn't their best defensive performance, but you're playing maybe the greatest quarterback in the history of football with a great offensive mind and Andy Reid and Bieniemy, and then the offensive line they had. To me, I'm going to say this, he's getting a little more heat than he should. When we broke down the big moments of the game, to me it was more the offense. The offense was the part of the team that was supposed to dominate the Kansas City defense. They were the number one offense in football, or the number two offense in football, really probably number one if they didn't have to sit out some fourth quarters and didn't even play because they were dominating teams. They were the ones that dropped the ball here. They were the ones that settled for the field goal before the half. They were the ones that fumbled and let a touchdown up for the other team. They were the ones that went 3 and out in the second half against a not top 10 defense in football, and then only settled for a field goal on a 17-point drive. So that's where I don't love the Jonathan Gannon thing. Did we really think the Eagles were just going to shut out Patrick Mahomes? 3 years ago, the 49ers defense was better than this Eagles defense, and he was down by 10 and 7 minutes left, and he scored 20 points in 6 minutes against the best pass defense we had seen in the last 15 or 20 years. So that's where I don't love the total criticism of Jonathan Gannon, everybody just putting it on that. I don't know if I'm crazy to think that or what, but that's just my opinion.
I think you're right, and it circles back to something we've been discussing. 4th and 6, up 3, the moment where they kicked the field goal and A.J. Brown said, we're going to lose this game now. We're only up 6 points, and we're giving it back to Patrick Mahomes.
Exactly. They knew. They were like, wait, our defense, right.
And hey, remember how strident Nick Sirianni was about 4th and 1, 4th and 3,
4th and 3,
32.
Down by 1.
Down 1, 10:33 to play. 32 out of 32 coaches will punt there. That's what he said. And we talked to 3 coaches about it. I think at least 3.
Yeah.
I don't think it came up with Reich. We didn't have time to mention it with Reich.
Right.
I can't remember.
No, we didn't.
But we did go with 3
or
coaches.
4, and 3 of them.
It was Josh McDaniels.
Yeah.
It was Brandon Staley.
Right.
And one other. Maybe it was Reich. I don't know.
No, it wasn't Reich. There was somebody else.
Doug Peterson. Doug Peterson. They all created a vibe as they talked it through. It wasn't a no-brainer, I'm going to punt there.
Right.
As they talked it through, you could see that they could potentially convince themselves to go for it in that situation.
Yeah.
And especially as you're dealing with the Chiefs and that they woke up the first drive of the second half. They woke up the second drive of the second half. You're down 1 point to them, and you're going to give them the ball back when they have rediscovered their mojo. Forget about special teams, because that's ultimately what failed the Eagles in that spot. You're giving the ball back to Patrick Mahomes. It doesn't matter whether it's a fair catch or whether it's a return down to the 5-yard line. You're giving the ball back to Patrick Mahomes down 1. And I didn't agree with it at the time. I don't agree with it now. And I definitely don't agree that 32 out of 32 coaches would have done the same thing in that situation, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're hearing that. And I think, the point.
And it puts it back to Gannon. Like you said, it puts more emphasis on Gannon when maybe it should at least be spread around.
Exactly. What happened after that? I mean, his defense was not on the field when Kadarius Toney was running down the sideline. That was the punt return. So that's where I just don't love. We're going to blame this guy, and I'm going to go, wait, there's a lot of other things to blame, in my opinion, before I'd go there. I know that that's where we want to go. But, yeah, again, I never at any point – we talked about the lead up to that game. The only thing we were worried about more than anything was, will the Philadelphia offense just steamroll the Kansas City defense? We were spot on there. And Kansas City came up with a great game plan and went all out to stop run and do some crazy stuff. And they made it happen. So that's where I don't love how the Philadelphia fan base and everybody's putting it on Jonathan Gannon. Again, I thought, why wouldn't you think that? Mahomes is the number 1 offense in football. With Mahomes, you thought that they were just going to shut them out? No, that game was there to be had because that offense was supposed to dominate Kansas City's defense and played really well, but just didn't come through in some big moments and totally dominate. And that's where I think it's a little misguided on Jonathan Gannon.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.